Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today we will discuss one of the most controversial topics in online gaming, smurfing. In 2024, it's become increasingly prevalent in popular games like CSGO, Rocket League, and Apex Legends. We're going to unpack this trend, explore what smurfing is, why it's becoming more common, and its significant impact on these gaming communities. So get comfortable and let's get into it. In the description, I will post timestamps for each game in case you don't care for CS2 for example, since each game I discuss will have its own set of unique points. First off, what exactly is smurfing? In gaming, smurfing occurs when experienced players create secondary accounts to compete against those with less skill. It's a severe issue, providing an unfair advantage and often discouraging new players. Think back to your early days in CSGO. Ever found yourself in a casual match only to be overwhelmed by an opponent racking up an implausible score? It's a frustration many of us have faced, and it's typically a smurf in action. The origins of smurfing can be traced back to the late 1990s, a period that marked the beginning of this now widespread practice in online gaming. It all started with two renowned World of Warcraft players, Jeff Frazier and Greg Boyko. These skilled gamers, facing difficulty in finding their matches due to their high skill levels, created new accounts under the aliases Papa Smurf and Smurfette. This strategy allowed them to play anonymously, making it easier for them to find games and opponents. This seminal act set a precedent that numerous players in various online games would later adopt. But why go through all this hassle of making new accounts when you could just play on your main? We have to remember the main reason for all of us playing the game, to have fun and or to play with friends. These games that I will talk about make it very difficult for us to have fun when we are completely outmatched in our games. We strive for the win or to be the champion squad. Who doesn't?
Oh my god.
But when it feels like the world is against us because we just got bodied by nothing or one of the top Apex predators, we go to our happy spot. A place where we know we can win or ultimately have fun. Don't get me wrong, this isn't the only reason for smurfing, but is undoubtedly the biggest. Other extreme cases are avoiding a long matchmaking time, or you have a superiority complex and just want to validate your feelings. Maybe you're doing it to escape all the cheaters that have been popping out of nowhere. Let's talk about Counter-Strike. Since the official free-to-play update, the smurfs in the game have shot through the roof. Instead of paying $20 odd for the game, people who have played for a long time could just create a new free Steam account and play. But even more recently, with the release of CS2, it turns out that you don't even need to go through the hassle of making new accounts to go against lower level players. Now that every map has a different ranking system, the game does not have enough information to place you against people rated at your level across all maps. In order to get your rank on all the maps, you need to win 90 games, which if you are anything above Master Guardian, will probably place you against lower level players for the first 4 to 6 games. That is between 36 and 54 games that you will be effectively smurfing in unless you somehow lose, in which it'll be much more. I am an average player who sits around the Master Guardian 2 rank, but after I got my rank on Mirage, I was a Silver 4 player. After I received my rank, the games were brutal, playing against global elites to face-it level 10s to semi-pros. I could not play for the life of me. All it takes is one person accidentally smurfing to ruin the game for the 5 opponents. Well then just don't play individual maps, play Premier. Premier has its own set of points. Premier is one of the most messed up game modes that the game has ever released. The cheaters are currently running rampant and the rank spread is insane. Just the other day, I played against a 14,000 elo with a 4,000 elo on my team. A 10k elo difference is apparently justified by a lower queuing time. For those of you still getting used to the new ranking system, that is approximately a Gold Nova 2 versus a Supreme Master First Class, according to Leadify. Let's see what Flom, a professional CS player, thinks about this.
Do you prefer facing because the anti-cheater? For what reason? The games I switched even before the cheaters rolled out, bro. The games were not competitive in Premier. This is my version of Premier before cheaters, okay? I would hop on and I would play for 10 hours a day and I would not lose a single game. And people were like, Flam, you 5-stack. True, valid point. Very honestly fair. And I would say when I don't, I literally play with people that are silver and I'm getting like 50 kills a game. And it's also incredibly boring and unfun and not engaging anyway. It was just really fucking boring, man. The balancing and like how they were getting people to high ranks was just really bad. Minus 50 mid ramp. Basically, I've said this from the beginning. I specifically for Premier, not taking into account cheating, okay? The issue for me as a player is that the games for high elo players was just like they had all this information of who had a high rank in the beta, and instead of using any of that and just doing like a soft reset, they completely reset it, which is just horrible, man. Why are you putting me up against little Jimmy that just loaded up CS2 for the first time trying to get calibrated? Like, you don't know I've played the game for thousands of hours. Like, why? Why would you just be like, yeah, all this information that I had, yeah, f it, we don't need that. We're starting new. We're trying to make Counter-Strike feel really good in every single way, so it still feels like Counter-Strike, but honestly, this is a new game. He's trash. One more mid. One out mid, one out mid. But yeah, I just think that Premier, at least from a ranking perspective, was horribly done. I just don't know why you would have information on players and relative to how decent they are at the game or how bad they are at the game, and you wouldn't use that information. I realize it's a beta, and not everybody had access. One out mid tagged. One more out mid.
Walling under. Oh my.
That's why. So long-winded answer, but that's why I'm playing Face It, and that was before the cheating stuff. Yeah, this window spot's easy, Dave. I don't know how you don't pop frag every game.
Now that I've made all these points, do you agree that Valve is forcing us to smurf, or do you think that things will eventually even out and people will be placed in a rank that they belong in? Let me know in the comment section below. Now let's talk about Apex. Respawn Entertainment made significant adjustments to its matchmaking system to address skill disparity. They aimed to create a more balanced and competitive environment for players of all skill levels. This involved refining their algorithm to match better players based on their performance and skill level. The aim was to ensure that matches were fair, with players competing against others of similar abilities, reducing the chances of lower ranked players facing top tier competitors. This shift was crucial for maintaining the game's competitive integrity and keeping the player base engaged and satisfied with the matchmaking process. However, much suspicion has been raised over the new matchmaking process, where people would claim that Respawn switched to an EOMM or engagement optimized matchmaking system instead. Engagement optimized matchmaking enhances player engagement and retention in online multiplayer games. Unlike traditional matchmaking, which primarily focuses on skill level to pair players, EOMM considers how specific match outcomes can influence a player's likelihood to continue playing the game. The idea is to create matches that keep players engaged, potentially increasing the time they spend in the game and their involvement in in-game purchases. EOMM aims to balance wins, losses, and the overall challenge to maximize player interest and engagement over time. This is what His Watson had to say in a tweet. I've gotten a couple comments about bot lobbies in my YouTube videos, so I just wanted to explain how public matchmaking works. Apex Legends Trios and Duos does not use SBMM, it uses EOMM. EA has a patent for this and is presumably used in all their games. It does not care about putting you against your own skill level, it wants to dictate when you succeed and when you fail in a way that'll keep your brain engaged for as long as possible. Your MMR for pubs is either very loosely or not tied at all to your skill level. Not playing will make your MMR go down, and playing will make it go up. If you don't play for 1 week plus, my estimate, your MMR will bottom out and you will be playing against level 5s and maybe actual bots. 3 hours later, there will be 6 squads alive, round 2, and everyone is in Omega Sweat. Take another week break, easy lobbies. This can be very easily tested, and as someone who frequently goes weeks without playing pubs and then binge 10 to 20 hours straight, it is so blatantly obvious that this is happening. During my 27-hour pub stream, I hadn't loaded into a pub in probably 2 to 3 months beforehand. The lobbies start out very easy, the VOD is still public, and after 3 to 4 hours there is an immediately obvious shift in how the lobbies play and what level of players are in them. By the end, I was basically only fighting 3 stacks and I would get skipped in queue for up to 10 minutes straight before I would get put into a game. If you just look at the first 1 to 2 games of my videos, yes, it may look like I'm bot lobbying, but if you watch the rest of the video and understand EOMM, it is very obvious that I am not. The image below is my first game after a 7-day break from pubs. It was probably the easiest lobby I've ever played in, and honestly this game had potential to break the damage record. If I had played 3 to 4 more hours, I would literally bet my life it would go back to being super sweaty and unfun lobbies. This would explain many of the lobbies he plays in. For example, his P2020 only 4K damage badge video, he would stand in the wide open, surrounded by squads, and they would miss every bullet. Whereas if you were to watch someone like Fade, even though he is doing the crazy movement that he is known for, they would hit many other shots. But of course, as his Watson's video went on, he went against harder and harder players, showing potential evidence of EOMM. Even in my own experience, these are some of the people I have been killed by in public matches. Note that I am an average player with about 12,000 total lifetime kills. However, Respawn's principal coder, Michael Callis, clarified that Apex Legends does not use the EOMM system described in the paper and emphasized that matchmaking is based on skill, not designed to manipulate win or loss outcomes. Honestly, we will never know the truth, but what are your thoughts on the topic? Have you seen evidence of EOMM in your games? And finally, Rocket League. This is one of the most fair regarding smurfing, but it might not always be that way. In the majority of matches on Rocket League, the games are close in skill even though the mechanics of the community are growing incredibly rapidly, where plats are starting to be able to hit consistent air dribbles and diamonds are flip resetting. Every so often, you'll get a player in ranked or casual who just ruins you, but it is less often than CS2 and Apex Legends. Let me remind you of why people smurf: to reduce queue times, to validate their superiority complex, and mostly just to have fun because they can't compete in their own lobbies. Right now, since Rocket League is quite balanced, there is only a little reason people wouldn't be able to compete in the lobbies. But what if there was? Recently, quite a few people have been experimenting with Rocket League AI. The developers of the AI have decided to keep it out of the public because they know how hard this could affect the Rocket League servers. If this bot was accidentally released to the public, or someone with ill intent was to create their own version, Rocket League could be incredibly unfair at the higher ranks, incentivizing people to create Smurf accounts. For now, this isn't an issue, and thank God it isn't. In conclusion, the world of online gaming is constantly evolving. With it, the challenges we face as players. Smurfing, a practice as old as online gaming, continues to impact games like CS2, Apex Legends, and Rocket League. While developers strive to balance matchmaking and maintain competitive integrity, the community's response varies, with many expressing frustration over perceived unfairness in matchmaking systems. Hopefully, the developers of CS2 and Apex Legends can learn something from Rocket League and reduce the amount of smurfs and cheaters in their games. I'd like to thank you all for watching if you made it this far into the video. I know it's been a long one. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. It helps my little channel grow. Have a good one.